This is Special Report.
Black holes are one of the strangest things in existence.
Neil Armstrong may have seen extraterrestrials on the moon.
When he spies a discernible shape.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
You can deny all the things I've seen, all the things I've discovered, but not for much longer. Because too many others know what's happening out there. And no one, no government agency has jurisdiction over the truth.
We are back. It is a Saturday night event like we always do. Welcome to Full Spectrum Universe. I am Rob Yox. Tonight we have some friends to the show, very, very, very cool people. We're going to be doing an interview show again this evening with Southern Ascension. They are a group. They're actually like a nonprofit that actually goes through and helps people for free with all their paranormal activity. And investigations and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring them in. We're going to ask them some really good questions. And we're going to be right on the time, right on the money, just like we always are. Before we bring them in, I just want to give a couple of announcements that we have going on right now. Like I said, the website is still in works for everybody. We're getting that together. It's going to be spectacular. Going to be totally aggressive when we come out with everything, with promotions, things like that. If you do enjoy this show, please go to patreon.com, become a member. We have extra content on almost every show. Right now, there's about 16 to 17 full shows that have not been shown on any platform. Also, I'd like to thank Dave Williver, Eric McGill, and RU Media. Please go and like their page. Follow them as well. They're truly incredible people doing incredible things. Another update on what's going on as well is we're actually handling all of the BAT West Coast. So if you are a West Coast team and you are not located within a big group for resources and assets, please come by and check us out. Give us, we have an email we can send to you. But with that being said, let's bring in Southern Ascension. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. That is Caden and Allisa, right? Is Allisa? Is that how you say? Alyssa. Sorry.
No, you're good. Everybody gets it like that.
You got it. So, it's so great to have you guys here. We talked to each other a while back and then confirmed this date for you guys to come on. And what I wanted to do is, I have my board back here says support local teams. You know what I mean? Like that. So what we're doing is we're going ahead and we're going to bring forth these teams that are on the rise, that are coming up, that are going to be strong, that we can see their work is great. And I believe that you guys are one of those teams. So, I wanted to give you guys a shout out and come on out and talk to me and have a really cool convo. So let's start by how you guys got into the paranormal to begin with.
Go ahead.
No, you ladies first.
For me, I didn't know it as paranormal, but paranormal just been part of my life my entire life. And then as I got older and the internet kind of surfaced, I learned more about actually what it was and that it really was a thing. People were really doing this type thing. Before that, I would just talk to people and try to help people. And I mean, what kind of where we're at. So that was a little difficult. We're in the South, like in the Bible Belt. So it was a little difficult, but honestly, it's just been part of my life, my entire life. I mean, literally. And then as I got older, like I said, TV and the internet, you learn that there's people out there that actually do this and that you really can get out on a broader spectrum and help people. And so as a collective, it's been part of my life forever, but I guess the last 4 or 5 years, more publicly, it has been.
I mean, to keep mine short, I had small things that were weird growing up, just pretty much like everybody else. My most prominent and situation that put me into the paranormal field was when I was 17. I was out the house, still in high school, living with a girlfriend at that time, and ended up being at the wrong place at the wrong time. And we ended up bringing an attachment home on top of the already spirit that was there. That her name was Aunt Pearl, so she wanted to go by Aunt Pearl, and ended up being a very hardcore, malevolent situation for 8 months. A lot of people that know me, they know this story. That's why I'm trying to keep it short. But basically, for 8 months, I was tortured by this this entity. It was never human, never walked this earth. The attachment, and it got as far as to where I wasn't just being tortured mentally and physically, but I was so oppressed that it started partially possessing me. So then I started getting loss of time and going to sleep and then waking up 3 hours later and I'm up the road, or going to walk to use the bathroom, and then next thing I know I'm in the backyard and it's been 6 hours later. So yeah, that's what kind of got me into that situation, or into the paranormal field, was that situation. And when I got the help that I needed by a psychic lady that a lot of people sent me to, I decided right then and there that I was gonna pay it forward and do the same for others that found themselves in the situation that I did.
It took you so long to find somebody.
Yeah, I mean, it took forever to find somebody.
How many times did you have like that lapse of time where you were just like, what the hell happened?
I know at least, I don't know the exact number, probably around between 6 and 8 that I know of for sure that was very detailed. Like, I know for a fact I was going here. Why am I here?
How did they end up here?
But yeah, so probably about 6 or 8 that was elongated. I would have like little flash blackout moments is what I called them, where I would be sitting there talking and then just be zoned out altogether and then come back through like, whoa, what was that? But I do that even now. A lot of people do it. You just get so zoned out. It's almost like a trance you get into, and you're like, oh, wait, I'm in class or I'm driving. Let me pay attention.
Well, that's the worst one. You're sitting there and you're like, wait a minute, am I driving right now? Like, what the hell's going on?
Or when you pull up in the driveway and you're like, oh, well, I made it home.
Yeah. I hope I didn't hit anybody on the way here.
Yeah.
Hope there was no problems along the way. No, it happens to everybody, but that could be something super, super scary. Of course, especially when it has something to do with something else as opposed to just like you thinking. You know what I mean?
Or being exhausted or something.
Right. When you think and you're in the zone, it's like, okay, great. Like I used to work nights and overnights. So, and it was a warehouse job. So the next day you try and get to sleep right away. And it would be like, first off, everybody else is up. So there's lawnmowers going, there's weed blowers going. It's crazy. So you're like, all right, man. But then you'd go for like almost 4 or 5 days on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And you're like, okay, am I seeing that? Am I not seeing that?
Yeah.
It gets wild. It gets wild. So tell us about Southern Ascension. Let's get into what that means to you guys and what it represents moving forward from, where you are now. Bring us the story of how we got into it and then like what it means and then where you're looking to go.
That's all you. Yeah.
So before Southern Ascension, about 3-4 years ago, we co-founded another team down South Mississippi. It was called Death Stalkers Paranormal. It was us 2 and 3 other ladies that were on there. So I was the only male, other than we had a part-timer that would come in every now and again. And the whole purpose of that is, like we said, at a very young age, we both got into the paranormal, but we did it on an individual level. And even when we started dating 8 years ago, we would go do small excursions, but nothing big. Somebody would call me, I would go handle it. Somebody call her, she would go handle it. It wasn't ever together. And then we decided that we wanted to try it on a team aspect. So we followed another team for a little bit, went on an investigation with them. It was like, yeah, this is something we want to do. We want to do it on a team on a team level. So we ended up co-founding another team. And we spent the next year with them learning everything that we could. Individually, we both took on a lot of mentors, learning everything that we could, not just with ghosts and spirits, but with elementals, with extraterrestrial, with cryptids, folklore, religions, astral traveling, everything. We dove heavily into it. And just like with any other teams out there, eventually you guys, you're not gonna somebody wants to do it this way, somebody wants to do it that way, and there's nothing wrong with it, but our paths were just differently. We wanted to go a specific path, they wanted to go another path, and that was okay. So we took a break for like a month to kind of gain our bearings, and we're like, you know what? We're just going to be nomadic. We're going to be our own people, because we weren't going to have a page. We weren't going to have a name. We were just going to do our own thing.
Yeah.
And we had so many followers from that era of ours. They're like, when are you guys going to do a page? We miss watching you. We miss
But they would
seeing
assume we had one.
Yeah, we're missing
What's your name?
your adventures and stuff. Like, we want to know what's going on. I'm like, well, we don't have one. They're like, well, you have to. And after a couple of them, we're like, okay, let's just give them what they want. Let's create a page so they can follow us and whatever. Didn't expect anything to come from it, really. Maybe the 20 people and that's it. Like, I would have been grateful for it. And so we created Southern Ascension. We both wanted it to be a name that not only established where we were in the world, but who we were in the world, because as a whole, collectively, we have ascended from a lot of nasty situations, a lot of, just normal wear and tear of the world, being a human. And so Southern Ascension really stuck with us. And the first 3 months that we had it up, we jumped up to about 1,300 followers. That page got up to close to 2,000. We were live every Sunday and every Monday. We did carpools, readings, lots of private clients. I mean, we had at least 10 people message us every week.
It was a lot.
I need this, I need that. Can you do this? Can you do that? So we did that for a year on that page, and finally we just really got burned out. It's like, you know what? This is not what we wanted. We didn't want the it wasn't fame or glory or anything like that, by no means. But to us, it felt like it, because that's a lot of people wanting your advice. So we decided to bump it down, and I revamped Southern Ascension page that you see now. I just revamped it a few months ago, back this summer.
May, I think.
June. I think it was June.
Might have been June.
June, I revamped the whole page.
I know we took the other one down before April.
Yeah.
Like, we just took it down and we're done.
Yeah. So we took it down. We revamped this one because, we got so suckered into doing private clients, which is nothing wrong with that, but private readings and missing person cases and homicides, those types of cases. And it really pulled us away from what we wanted to do, which is not just our personal truth, but private residence, like actually going to a home and helping, not just always astral traveling or always, doing a cord cutting session over the phone. So when we revamped the page, we're like, we're not advertising that she's doing readings. We're not advertising that we do, all these other different types of cases other than, ghost and spirit and, cryptids and stuff. And that's really throttled it down and kind of grounded us back to what we wanted to do.
I think it's just, in this field, there are very gifted individuals, even outside of the paranormal field. There just are. And I'm not saying that I don't, like, he was speaking about the readings, and it's not that I don't enjoy doing them, but it had became to where that's all people wanted. And that as a whole for us, we wanted to educate people. Like, we weren't just there to give you free readings or and it got to where when he says burnout, for me, I was like, but you guys don't want to learn anything. Like, you just want this and that's it. And that's not what our goal was. It's not what our mission was.
On our lives, we had, anywhere between 30 and 50 on average, especially whenever she would do card pulls. We're like, great. Now we're going to do classes. And we did. She ended up getting a class together to teach people. And 20 people signed up and only 3 showed up. And that was kind of like now we know that they just want the free readings. They just want a card pull. They just want this. And it's not fair to the ones who truly want to learn something, because we don't have time. We're wasting our time doing all this free stuff that, although it does help them in the moment, it's kind of, I call them like the freebie people. Like, I want more. I want more. You just pulled me a card yesterday, but I want another one on the same situation. And it's not fair to those who are new or have hardcore situations that need our help.
I understand that. I understand that a lot because I actually just recently, I would say I'm fairly new to the paranormal side of it. And the person that I work with, a lady by the name of Melinda, Rescue Medium Melinda, she is a medium too. And you see people that, she has a great following for doing her mediumship. But by making this team, we've decided that we're taking this step into really helping people on a level that was different than just, I admire the fact that you guys really want to help people too. I can see it by the way that you're doing your thing too. And education is a big thing to me. I'm an avid person who believes in learning to this day. So, and that's kind of this, and I knew your story a little bit from asking around because I from this show and from another show that I do, I've actually made a lot of friends in the paranormal, and it wasn't my intention with this show to go straight into paranormal. We do other shows too, like you guys do with the aliens and the folklore and myths, and science, and things like that. But establishing the fact that I've been able to have this gift of a community that came to me while I was doing this show, you hear a lot of different stories. And I did hear your story too of how you guys were really big and then, decided to throttle it down a little bit. And I was intrigued, I was intrigued on what that story was and what was happening. But, I think it's truly epic that you kind of like want to teach those people because we should always stay learning. Like there's no answers to anything that we do here, right? So with that being said, by you teaching what you know, you leave more of a legacy than if you were to go in and say, well, there's an EVP here. This is a spirit here. This is what we got. There's this legacy that you were able to pass what you knew on to others. So admirable. I support you guys 100% all day, every day. I think it's truly incredible. That's an epic thing. And learning is the bedrock of what we do, right?
Right.
As an investigator, even you're learning what's going on in there so you can handle that situation properly. Right. A lot of people don't want to learn the history of a place before they go in and, tackle what the issue is. Then you're not really helping. You're only stirring a pot. That's how I feel. You're not.
For some, they're getting evidence.
Yeah. For some, they're just, oh, did you hear that? Yeah. Did you hear that? It's in my name. The thrill seekers.
That's a fact. We have Emily Men's house, and she said, yes, I'll be learning at 90. Absolutely. Emily has a great show, too. Everybody go and check out Emily's page. You can find the name of her show and go watch her as well. She's a great person. But no, it's truly, you truly have to remain in that state, too. So let's get into some of the situations that maybe you guys have been through that have been maybe a little unique or awkward for you guys. So let's get into some of that.
Well, we have a lot of those that made us.
We got 2 hours, but listen, we got 2 hours.
We're very awkward people. Very awkward people.
We are very transparent people, and that causes for some awkward situations sometimes. But.
Me too. You can tell how I feel by my face. It's like I can't even block it or hide it, which is why this started as a radio show, and then they're like, you should do broadcasting. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't think I can do that. But, I'm here now, and I'm trying to regulate myself. But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Unique situations.
You're talking about Mr. George or Mr. Henry.
Mr. Henry. Yeah, the cook. Yeah, it was interesting and fabulously awesome. Like it just was. Anybody that ever gets what we call a chatty Cathy, we're the type of people that if we realize that's what we've got, we're about to ask some off the wall questions. Like seriously, I want to know what you seen when you died. I want to know like how did this happen and how did that happen and so on and so forth. And we had Mr. Henry, and he is the one that we asked about the railroad tracks?
No, that was Mr. George.
Yeah, you're right. You said Mr. George first, but Mr. Henry came first. Mr. Henry was the cook at a location in Tupelo, Mississippi that we went to. And I don't know if you've ever watched the movie The Green Mile.
Yep.
With John Coffey. Okay, if you can hear John Coffey's voice, that's what this man sounded like. And it was phenomenally awesome. He was hilarious, and his vibration was so high. Everybody in the room could tell that he was just a happy dude. And we chatted with him for.
Now this is a spirit, just for those who didn't pick up.
Yes, this was a spirit. Just for the, I didn't specify that.
You
I
did.
should
That's
have.
what I said.
Sorry. And I don't even remember the questions that you asked him.
Well, she was
know.
doing a sensory deprivation, which, you know, most people know what it is. Those who do not, it's whenever you put a pair of headphones in or muffs, you usually blindfold yourself, or I blindfold her and put earbuds in. She listens to either a radio or at that day, I think you were listening to the SB7.
I don't know. I know we had guests with us on that specific investigation, and one of them was terrified because she had never been on any sort of paranormal anything at all. And he played games with her and had her so shook and scared. It was like a giggling thing, but she was terrified. Like she was like,
to set the mood, because you're not explaining. So we're in a basement that is a cafeteria, and the lights are on. Mr. Coffee was an old chef that was there, or Mr. Coffee. Mr. Henry was the old chef that was there. As Alyssa's doing her sensory deprivation, you know, we're asking him to turn on the lights, and he's flickering the lights in the building. We had a flashlight set up. He was, you know, turning on the flashlight on cue, turning off on cue, and we had they said we had some special guests with us, and they were recording us. They had the big old mic boom and stuff, and he was actually, you know, touching them and pulling her, and you know, he was laughing because she would start laughing like, we're like, are you touching Amy? And she would, you know, he would say, yes, she's scared, watch her run. And he like moved the chair, and like she took off.
Wow, man, that's wild. Now, let me ask you this question too. I know you guys said you were part of a different team. How do you guys feel now doing some of those bigger investigations with a bigger group as opposed to just the two of you? Do you feel any difference? Do you feel like you get better evidence when it's just the two of you? Some people feel that, you know, there's a very big difference between a small group and a big group.
You know, now that
energy wise, it's not much different. I find it easier for myself to focus on what I'm doing in a smaller group setting. Personally, I don't know, for Caden it's different because he's more of a madness type person. Like he doesn't ever have sometimes he has a strategic plan, but not much. Like he just goes in and it is what it is. But for me, energy wise, like it's easier because I can really focus on me and what I'm doing and what I have going on around me, and not feeding off of how everybody else in the room's feeling.
Yeah, I think that I have to agree. You know, the longer that we've been in this, you know, we've worked with a lot of different teams. I mean, a lot, not just, you know, an investigation here and there. Like, okay, a solid year, we worked with 3 different teams, you know, pretty much talk to them every single day. And I think the longer that we're in this, we're starting to realize that it kind of affects us when we go in, because we have a way that we do things like everybody else. And I get irritated easily on investigation when people can't be quiet. You know, if I want to do an EVP session, I need you to be quiet. Let's not whisper. Let's not talk. Let's not stomp around, pop your knuckles, doing all that. So I do get irritated easily, because you'll always get, you know, a handful of people that really just can't hush. So to me, with some locations, a large group does put a damper into it. But on the flip side of things, sometimes a larger group helps a lot, because all that energy into one building kind of amps up the place and makes it come alive. So it really just goes back to be careful who you investigate with or take to some of these locations.
Yeah. Pick your partners smartly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes, you know, you're absolutely right. It goes by the person too, and possibly the location.
Mm-hmm.
There are variables that really, you know, sets the trend for what it's going to be. And I'm kind of like you too. I like the chaos of it. I like to be all over the place.
Yeah,
I've only been in paranormal for, let's say, 8 months now, right? So with that 8 months, I've done a lot of exploration in my own house as opposed to going out to a lot of places. Of course, because of COVID, things tickered down a little bit. But I've gotten myself out there to try and learn every piece of equipment that I can get my hands on because I feel I want to know everything. I'm also the historian and lead investigator of a group, so I feel like I have to at that point. But
Nice.
with just the two of you, how do you find it? When you go into these places, I know that you're the medium. With the medium that I'm with, she finds it easier to center off just the two energies, like you're saying, and just kind of focus on who is there. His vibration because you're around him all the time.
Mhm.
Therefore, you can expand further and check out what's going on. And I think that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's how we work with the mediumship part of it / paranormal when we're doing both of those together. Everybody's like, "Why is it difficult to do that as a married couple?" It's not. We work very well together on a professional basis, and as bad as it sounds, we might have to leave our personal life at the door, and it's all business, because if you don't, sometimes they'll play off each other. And with the mediumship, Caden also knows me as a whole. So if I don't want to admit that I'm drained and I'm tired and I just want to keep pushing forward, he can tell without me ever hinting to him, okay, well, it's time for us to just quit, or it's time for me to push her a little bit further, or she's on the brink of this. Let's see what this left turn does, those type of things. And especially when he's went ahead and dug in and got loads of information. If I want to roll with something, he just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. Like, he's my biggest critic, but he's also my biggest fan. If that makes sense.
No, it's important. That's important to be able. I think that having that, like with my partner, we're very, very close. We're very best friends. So we've been a team since I started, and she's been teaching me quite a bit. But it's good to have that bond. You need to be able to see those things because you're in places that could be potentially dangerous. Or there's rotting building probably half the time, or just being around specific entities. You have to be on your toes, so you have to have that partner that you can look to really quick and be like, okay, all right. Not only that, it's a reassurance sometimes. It is, and that's important because you've got to go in like with a full head of steam, and sometimes it doesn't matter who you are or what you do. You could be one of the guys that's on a major TV production. When you go into a place, sometimes you get, depending on the place, a reserve, like a reservation about doing something. But then you look to that partner, and it kind of gives you that strength to bull through it and do it 100% in. And I think that's super important.
I mean, I'll be the first one to admit I do not scare easy. I do not get nervous easily. But there are some situations and locations, especially when it comes to being, and I'm not just talking about being in a room with the lights off dark. I mean pure darkness, like there's zero light. I mean, and it even feels dark. When I get in those type of situations, I do have to lean towards her a lot because, although I'm the man, she's my light, so with her being able to astral travel and stuff and being able to shield, I kind of depend on her a lot to kind of help me out, to make me, she'll come near me and be like, we got this. And that's kind of the boost that I need a lot, especially, with Monroe House. I think that was my biggest lesson in this field thus far, was when we went to Monroe House, that I can't be just Billy Bad Butt all the time. That was your humble lesson. That was my that one humbled me to the core, and that's when I realized that I really do depend on her for a lot of safety reasons. And I do depend on her to kind of save my butt when I do something stupid, just like when she does it. So, it's an even field, we work like fluid.
I agree with that because mediums can kind of like see in that dark. I've seen it. Like they have this perception where they can actually still see what's going on while it's completely like blinders on, completely black. And you're like, okay, all right. But like you said, she's kind of like your nightlight going through that area. That little flashlight you would have on your keychain to get through something, which is pretty epic. It's pretty epic. What exactly happened in the Monroe House?
Listen, that was another story that, we were going to tell after Mr. George and Mr. Henry.
Yeah.
I think my favorite situation I mean, I've been talking about this for 2 years, and
Mhm.
I still have yet to encounter anything that tops it. We're at the Monroe House, which is in Hartford City, Indiana. We were there with our past team, and there was the 5 of us there. We had just left the Ouija room.
Yes.
Yeah,
we
we
had
just-
left the
we-
Ouija room, brought our equipment downstairs, and had all went outside for a small break.
Yeah.
Type thing.
So we were all outside, smoking our cigarettes, kind of going over what just happened and what we're going to do. And I'm trying to figure out this name that Allisa had gotten while she had done a sensory deprivation. And I'm trying to, think, where have I heard this name? Where have I heard this name? So I'm messaging a buddy of mine that deals a lot in like the occult type stuff. And I'm like, hey, do you know anything on this name? And immediately after that, somebody else sends me a message, which is one of our good friends from Australia. He's like, are you good? Are you okay? And I was about to send back, yeah, I'm good. And then my buddy Cody that studied the occultism, he sent me a name of what it was. He's like, yeah, I have, and it's not good. And as soon as I read that, I was just like, I started feeling sick really bad. Like my chest started hurting. Me being me, I don't immediately think of paranormal. I'm like, okay,
We
drank-
ate pizza for dinner.
like I drank way too many energy drinks today. I'm smoking way too many cigarettes. That's why my chest is hurting. Maybe it's just acid reflux, And I was just like, man. So I'm still trying to message him back, and it keeps getting tighter and tighter, and it almost feels like an anxiety attack or a panic attack fixing to come on. I've had them multiple times. They quite literally feel like a heart attack.
At this time, to interrupt, one of our team members was actually on like a live video on our Facebook explaining to the people that had been watching us that night, hey, we're just taking a break, letting you guys know we'll be back live soon. While they're live, they are like trying to turn their phone off, and the camera turns around. You got a selfie screen and a camera screen or whatever. The camera screen like turns around, and she realizes that all of our equipment that's lined up on this table is going off, and it's going nuts. Like and we had turned it all off. The batteries were out, but everything was still going off like crazy.
Oh man!
But it wasn't just the flashlight.
The flashlight and the K2 meter that was right there. So we're outside. They're doing that inside, and I can't really hear them, but I'm outside, and I'm doing this. I'm right here, and I'm like, God, it's really starting to hurt. And then all of a sudden, I felt something stab me. And it was on I probably mirrored, but it was on my left side of my body, and it hit me about 6 inches from my heart. And it literally felt like a serrated knife. I drew a picture of it after it was all said and done. A serrated knife stabbed me. And when it stabbed, I felt it go in, and I grabbed myself, and I'm like, oh, blah, 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 blah.
Bunch of bad words.
Yeah.
Can't cuss on this one.
You can say it if you want. It's not. We're not censored here.
Okay. So, I was like, oh shit, and it went in me, and I kind of doubled over, and I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, and then all of a sudden I felt it twist. I felt the blade twist. It felt like my muscle was ripping. And I'm just like doubled over. I'm still standing up, but I doubled over, put one of my hands on my knees, and I'm holding my chest, and I'm like, I can't
Couldn't get
talk.
anything out.
I'm just like trying to catch my breath. Well, then it finished twisting, and it got pulled out. And they're starting to freak out at this time. And I finally caught my breath, and I'm like, I'm getting stabbed. Something just stabbed me. And when I said something just stabbed me, I got hit a second time about 3 to 4 inches from my heart. And that one went in, felt it go completely 360. Now that one, it dropped me. I dropped to my knees. I just went boom. My eyes are automatically tearing up because I've had surgeries, but I've never been awake for that kind of pain at all. That was excruciating because it felt like my tendons, my muscles from that knife. I felt it ripping and tearing it. I could almost smell the blood. That's how real it was.
Well, your skin was it was bad.
My skin was,
all
kind
of
of
it was
welted.
real time happening.
So that one hit, and I'm on my knees, and as it's twisting, I just laid back on my back because I couldn't catch my breath. I don't know what else to do. they're running to try to find our charged water that we kept, our crystals. They're one of the ladies that was on our team, she was a Reiki master and a healer. Another lady, she was very, very religious. And so they're both like, one's praying, one's like got her hands on my stomach like this, like starting to try to heal me. And I, at this point, still can't breathe. And then the knife got pulled out, and I take a deep breath, and then it went directly to my heart, and I blacked out. I got another blow directly to the heart. I blacked out. The next thing I know is somebody's got their hands on my head. Somebody's got their hands on my stomach. Somebody's hands are on my feet, like holding my feet down. So I don't know if I was moving.
You are.
Or something. If I was like seizing up, I don't know. And Allisa, I heard her. She was off to my side, and she had me kind of around the face and neck area, like slapping me, like trying to wake me up. And my eyes, I'm just like tears going everywhere, can't breathe. And I felt the knife come out. And at that time, like, I'm just waiting for another one to come because I'm like, this is 3, there's got to be more. I don't know what this is. And it never came. And I finally, was able to breathe and catch my breath and speak and tell them, like, I got stabbed 3 times. And, I don't know what happened, but the last one went directly to my heart. And I raised my shirt up, and they said, you have 3 marks. And, it was 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
That was the most profound for me because I went in with the notion of Monroe House. Excuse me. It's been all over TV. Everybody's scared of this house, or a lot of people are scared of this house. And I kind of went in. I didn't say it out loud. I said it in my head. I'm like, all right, Monroe, I want to know what makes you famous. Why are so many people scared of you?
Show me what you got.
Show me what you got.
Oh, you went in like balls to the wall. Like, yeah, all right, bring it. It felt it. The house felt it and brought it to the point where you seized up and blacked out on the floor. That's horrible, bro.
Yeah,
that's a horrible thing.
That was the first of it, and then another situation happened, like a little bit later. And a little bit later. And
did you go blank?
I did. I did. What happened after that?
Well, it wasn't with you.
Yes, it was. That's whenever all the equipment was still going off. I came through. Everybody was kind of back to normal. Somebody yelled, hey, the equipment's still going off. So we're trying to run in. We're trying to run in and see what's going on. And I'm standing there. She's recording, and she's very agitated recording this because
that was
something just hurt me. And
difficult.
She's like,
I would understand that. She's your partner in life, and something happens to you, she's going to be upset. That's a very, very understandable.
Upset is mild.
Upset was mild because she was like, she was sitting there recording. She's like, are you the mother effer that just touched him? I'm like, it was bad.
You're like, awesome. It felt good though, didn't it? Caden, it felt good to say like that. You're like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Like, I was mad.
Like it was later on, it was awesome. I'm like, yeah, she's got my back. But at the time, I'm like, if you don't shut up, because if it touches you, and then it's just gonna go back and forth. And I knew that wasn't a situation that needed to happen. But as we're recording, she's getting overheated and she's shaking because her adrenaline's still going. I grab the camera and I'm recording and I'm asking questions, and then I feel a hand go in between my rib cage and go straight to my heart because I'm getting ill asking it questions and it's answer. I'm like, why are you targeting me? Blah, 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 blah. Like, you can't hurt me anymore. And it was kind of like, yeah, you want to bet? And so I felt hands go between my ribs. And you can actually hear this on the video and the audio that we have still of this. I start like wincing in pain, and then I felt something grab a hold of my heart again. And I was like, all right, I'm out. You know what? I get it. I respect you now. I know what you're capable of. I don't want no more. I'm good.
He literally said, okay, I see now. I see now. You have my respect. I'm done. We'll play by your rules for a little while. Like,
I would have said the same thing. I bow out. It's over. It's it. I'm walking out. I'm sorry. Like,
we didn't leave. We ended up spending the night.
We
but
stayed another night or two, and it
shifted the way that you.
it did.
viewed it.
As soon as I said I respect you, you earned my respect. I'll respect you from now on. It was like that's all it wanted. Like, thank you.
You still got a brass set for going back though, bud. I'm telling you that right now. I would have been like,
Oh,
"Man,
we spent the night.
Yeah, we ended up finishing investigating that night, slept like babies that night, woke up, investigated again, slept again another night.
Yep.
Yeah, because that was the first day. Slept again there, and then left that Sunday morning.
And drove all those hours home.
10 hours back home.
wow." So, what are some of the places that you guys want to investigate that you haven't yet?
I don't have any. I'm not a famous place person. I'll like randoms, unknown, untouched territory. I do have several places on my dream map that are outside of the U.S. But I really love uncharted territory.
The special gems, the hidden gems.
You know what I'm saying?
You're
Those
an
are my
explorer.
favorite places to go.
You're an explorer. You're like the Magellan of investigating. You like to go out there and you want to go around the world to the places that haven't been touched. And I understand that too, because there's like this, how do I say it? There's like this atmosphere when you're the first one to get something in a spot where nobody else has investigated. It's like an extra rush to the rush of getting it. You're like, yeah, I knew it. I felt it. That's why I'm here. It's like vindication almost when you get it. You're like, okay.
I have a few spots that I wouldn't mind going, but they're not in the U.S. You know, all mine are in Ireland and UK. You know, some of the castles. I love Ireland. I want to go there. I want to try to discover some fae folk, some fairies. I want to find some fairy mounds. I want to do those type of stuff. You know, up in the UK, I'm a sucker for castles. I've never seen one in person, like of a massive magnitude or nothing like that. So I would love to go and investigate a castle one day. But right now, I'm really digging us doing the underground stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
I've been watching it. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild under there.
We just went to.
That's what he's talking about.
Oh, you watched ours?
Yeah, I watched yours.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant like you watched a cool show or something that had.
No, yours.
Thanks.
Go ahead. Tell the audience. Tell the audience about it. Tell them.
Oh, go ahead. You're more depicted than I am. Like I'm vague. I'm just being honest. I'm vague.
So there's a cave. There's quite a few cave systems that are around us that we had no idea about. The one that we just went to, though, it's on public land. Anywhere we go is either public land, or we always get permission. Just so everybody knows, we're not those types of people that just go willy nilly, you know, like that.
Nobody wants to get arrested. Nobody wants to get arrested for trespassing.
Like nothing is worth a fine or worth going to jail for me. Like,
and destroying other people's stuff is just not up my alley, so I'm good.
So we heard about this cave system, and it was through a private client. I've never heard of them before. A private client's like, yeah, there's these caves that are not far from here. We go in there. It's kind of a hike, but there's like some satanic stuff down there. And as soon as somebody says satanic stuff, I'm like, oh.
Isn't it always satanic? Oh,
right.
There's demons.
I was like, why? Because I said, let me guess, there's tea candles everywhere. And he's like, yeah. I'm like,
and they spray painted stuff on the walls.
I was like, is there like spray painted, you know, pentagram or a pinnacle upside down?
Maybe a sacrifice altar or something.
I was like, let me guess, all that spray painting. He's like, yeah, really is. I'm like, not satanic, but okay. Like somebody's just trying to scare somebody else, like to make you think it. But I'm with you. Like, where is this place at? So we go,
and it is a hike.
And we decided to go at night, middle of the night, with some of our friends that had been there previously. So they take us, and I'm cussing them the whole way. Like, are you kidding me? It's dark, and it's 30 degrees outside.
Middle of the night in February in Mississippi. Anybody that knows anything about Mississippi weather, we don't have winter till February. Like the end of January, February. It's like 3 weeks of winter, and it's cold. That's when they decided for us to go.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
beautiful. Beautiful.
Naturally.
Rank up another minus to this case right now. You got satanic, you've got cold weather, and you got people saying, "I found a sacrifice altar with a lamb's head on it." Go
Yeah.
up, like
Right by the river.
Right by the river. You know?
oh, beautiful! A nice wind too. It's
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Right.
fantastic. Let's go. Sign me up. I'm game. So we make this hike, and it took us about 45 minutes to get there the first time. And we go in, and it's actually really cool. It's a chalk mine, but there's lots of natural occurring rocks and limestone kind of growing around it. So natural conductors, you got the lake that, you know, when it's high tide, you know, it's right there. So a lot of natural stuff going on. It has
We get
great
down
view.
in there and it's naturally like 65 degrees in there.
Yeah.
It's like
The
so
cave-
much warmer.
The cave stays like between 65 and 70 degrees all year round. Doesn't matter if it's hot or cold outside.
It was nuts. Yeah,
So it was nice. We got in there and you know, kind of walked around with them. Didn't really do a whole lot of investigating. So we decided that we would go back this year and we make our trek back down there. It only took us 20 minutes because we were smart and went during the day.
we let our page decide that we went there.
Yeah,
we did
we
do
did.
that. We left it up to them.
So we go in there this go around, and it had a much different feel to it. You know, the first time we were there, you could feel just kind of wanderer spirits, you know, kind of in and out, just attracted to it. Like they'd come in. Hey,
Nothing that was like
leave.
because of the caves or happened in the cave. It was nothing like that. It was just
Yeah. This go around,
Highway
it
type stuff.
was like there was just something kind of lurking always. Like, I mean, as soon as I went in there, like I just kind of felt uneasy, and it wasn't negative. It was just more of a alertness. Like, okay, something's a little off. Something's different. I feel like there's something in here, and I always stay packing. So because places that we do go, animals. You know, you never know. So I get mine out, and I'm just kind of walking around and listening, just like as if there is a bobcat or puma, whatever, panther, bear, you never know. I'm like, I'm gonna be ready for it.
you got to be safe. You definitely got to be safe, especially in a cave like that. There's nowhere to run. It's
Yeah.
either towards it or away from it. You got to
Exactly.
be able to defend yourself, of course.
So I didn't say anything to her. I didn't let her know I was uneasy. As soon as she stepped foot in there, she was like, God, it feels different. And I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one. Glad you think so.
Confirmation.
Yeah, so we did some investigating. We did not reconnect with well, we did for a little bit, Anna Claire.
yeah, the girl.
Alyssa connected with Anna Claire again, which was a lady or a young girl we had talked to before while we were in there. She had died a couple of years ago, probably like 6-7 years ago now, in a car wreck. And this go around, it's like something was.
The way I described it was a very low vibrational, non-human entity. And if you could picture it, it was very much just like a black slime. It didn't even have a high enough vibration for like some of the lower
Like
vibrational energy entities that we know of, like, you know, that have. So I really didn't give it a name or in a category. It's just really low vibrating black goop. Like, I don't know. It was so strange. And I was just like, what in the heck is happening here? And it was just enough to like let you know that it was lurking around the corners. But I'm not interested. No, it wasn't enough to really delve into, but it was enough to know that it was there. It was enough, if that makes sense. It was very strange. It was very, very strange.
Yeah, we still don't know what brought it in there, or if somebody,
or if it just
like an
ended up
amateur tried to conjure something up, and it backfired, and now you got this blob that's just kind of there.
That's wild. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, but with all the pagan stuff, maybe it was somebody trying to, you know, like you said, conjure, and then they couldn't even give it enough density to be ethereal. Right. You know, it was like just this defunct thing from wherever it came from.
When she was explaining it to me, I'm like, is it like the blob off the Goosebumps books? Because that's what it sounds like. Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm thinking.
She's like, yes, exactly.
Just a mini version.
It's just a
mini version.
Mini version, and it's like tar. I'm like, okay.
It was soulless and just it was so low vibrational that it was like barely there. It was just weird. It was so weird. Its energy was just very strange.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what this is or why it's here, but whatever. Like it wasn't threatening. It was just awkward.
It was just there, but it causes more maybe
more of a
more
nuisance.
interaction or more exploration of what else might be down there, you know.
Exactly.
It really acted more of like a nuisance. It's like, dude, come on, like go away somewhere so we can do our thing. Like, go.
Right.
Like,
Well,
shoot.
one of the things I love is that you said you're into cryptids, you're into folklores and things like that. I love all that stuff. I love all that stuff. I didn't start paranormal. I started in ufology and history. So, after having a few paranormal people on the show, I started to get this this amazing community of people that were reaching out to me and inviting me to do things. And I got so into the paranormal side. It's wild. But this is a question I ask everybody that comes on the show that is paranormal, right? Or maybe not paranormal, but for like a different aspect. You'll understand in a second. And I want each of you to answer it individually. Okay. This is essentially a question on theory, and I'm big into theories.
Okay.
What do you think? Like, how do you think that these entities, where do they come from? Why are they here? And what brings them to this place?
Our theories are very much the same on this.
I don't know because mine's been changing.
Okay, maybe they're not. We haven't had this conversation in a minute, so
everybody gets this question. So I want you guys to answer it individually because it's super interesting. Where do they come from? Where do these energies come from?
They come from different, I call them playing fields, but planes, different planes, dimensions and planes and energy levels throughout the galaxies and universe.
Right. Because there's some, and like I said, there's no wrong answer to this question. It's all about what you believe. And it's a conviction thing. But I feel that there's, like you said, there's different planes. There's a heaven, there's a hell, there's an in-between, there's a purgatory, there's a different dimensional side of it that goes through timelines and, time and space kind of thing. But so why do they come here is the next question.
There are multiple reasons in my experience that they come here. Some of them are brought here. Some of them hitchhike back here. Some of them accidentally end up here. Some of them are sent on missions, depending on which dimension and plane they're from. Some of them are here just because they want to be.
Gotcha. That's it. It makes a lot of sense too. And there's a third part to it, but it's kind of like the missions and things like that. What do you think some of those missions might be? If you had to classify it, like what a mission would be, what do you think it would be?
Some have been, in my personal experience, recreation. Some of them have been recreation and
like a messenger too?
Yes. Kind of, yeah. Almost like a time traveling thing. Messenger thing.
Like
yeah.
A guy or astral traveler.
Yeah.
Someone punished.
Yeah, non-souls have been punished and for misbehaving in their realm. So I think
they're sent here because they misbehave. Like this would be almost like a hell to them, right? To have to walk not being seen and basically going through trying to affect people that they really couldn't get their hands on. That's a pretty wild concept. I like that though. I like that a lot. That's a good concept. I do like that. That's why I ask everybody these questions, and there's a reason because nobody has answers, right? So everybody has a theory about why, how, and when, or what the purpose is. So when I listen to everybody's, it helps me to like really look at all these different sides of what they think it is. And then I kind of conglomerate my own type of aspect of that question. But I truly am fascinated at why people do what they do too. Almost like the humanality of it, Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. What's your favorite piece of equipment in the field?
Mine?
Mine is her.
You guys, listen, that's true, right? I was going to say the same thing. I have a medium too in my group. Greatest thing on earth. Greatest thing on earth. If you're not going out there with a medium, I commend you for doing it the scientific way. But the other way to do it too. It's not saying you're not scientific if you have a medium with you, but having that ability to communicate is a big deal to me, and I like that. I like that aspect where I can go, let them know, let them know through feeling. What do you see? What am I walking into? Kind of like, it's just like when somebody asks a medium to pull a card, they want an answer to the unknown. We use the medium almost in the same way by saying, what do you see? I can't see it. You can. What do you see? You know what I mean?
My favorite piece of equipment is my flashlight.
Yeah.
I love my flashlight.
Our little twist top flashlight that we'll set up and see if somebody will play with it. Yeah,
I like my little ball thing too. I don't even know what that's called.
Your what? Oh, the plasma ball?
I like my plasma ball a lot. My little $5 plasma ball. It's
That's
cool.
awesome. That's awesome.
We are a very basic group, I guess you would say. We do not spend, the teams that go out there that want to do this scientifically, I'm not knocking them. Do it. Somebody has to. That's just not us. We're not scientists. We don't even know what spirit is made of enough to even conduct a natural scientific investigation of it or a science experiment of it. So because of that, we don't really fall into the thousands of dollars for this piece of equipment, or this EMF is $500, or this is $200. Like, no, we do have equipment, but it's literally Amazon, cheapest route, because if spirit wants to manipulate it, it's going to manipulate it. It doesn't care how much you spend on it. So we have I think the most expensive thing that we bought was my camera, and that was it. That was like $200 in itself. But our EMF meters were under $50. We have like motion sensor lights that were $2.
They're toilet lights.
They're toilet lights. Like, we're very inventive. We're from the South. We're very resourceful. If it works, it works. And
we did get sound lights for $5, and those things were phenomenal.
Yeah,
nothing has to be expensive. When you say that, you don't have to go the expensive route to get, and you'll probably be the first one to get that amazing piece of evidence, because and I understand too. I get it. I do the scientific thing sometimes, and then my teammate does the different way, like a little bit different. She feels it. I personally just love the gadgets. Maybe not so much the evidence that you get, but just the gadgets of it. But I understand that too. Like, I'm not at a place where I can buy thousands of dollars. You have to be inventive. And the whole thing is that's what's going to get you that real evidence. That scientific stuff can beep and make lights and make sounds and all that shit. Who cares?
Right. Like I said, I'm not knocking any team that goes out and they are scientific and know how to work that type of stuff. Okay, that ain't me. I'm a very simple man from Mississippi. I am not a scientist. I failed science class in high school. Like, I'm bad at it. Don't even get me started.
Well, that's the thing is, you respect it. I understand it 100%. So do I. But I don't. I feel the same way. But I also like to explore the other way too. I'm kind of like in the middle. I like to do a little bit of both.
And I understand that aspect. I'd like to see what I can get with technology and the paranormal. If I can use, that's like these little $5 lights that we bought. We bought $5. It's a strip that's set off by motion, and we have another one that's set off by sound. And we've used them on investigations before. And I'll be dead gum if they don't work. And they were $5. And like the same thing you see on these TV shows are thousands of dollars. And I'm like, nah, dude, go to 5 and below, get you these two, it works.
Well, that's just it. You're going to get the best. You're going to get like the best type of evidence because you're being more inventive as opposed to just letting a machine do its thing. You're interacting, and I admire that too. I think that's just truly incredible. I think that being inventive and trying to figure out new ways to find that evidence is what's going to help us connect these dots in the long run. I mean, are we ever going to find out? I truly believe that in the next 10 years, we're going to find out what is and what is. I feel like right now there's this shift. It's a it's more of a spiritual shift, like a soul shift.
Yeah, there was a huge. That's what, me and Alyssa talked about. Early in the year, she had said, like, this year is going to be the year of just a mass awakening, and a lot of people have, spiritually, they've came and found their inner selves or their inner strengths and worked on past traumas. Like, this year was the year of molting the past,
self-reflection,
and dealing with the future, or dealing with the future in a positive way, in a very positive awareness way. And kind of going back on the equipment, like you said, though, I wish that I could afford some of these pieces, especially like a good SLS camera. They intrigued me. I also have used one, and I know how they can manipulate different things. But I also think that it's a good and a bad thing that there's such this hype about equipment. Like, it's great that people are that involved and they're creating these things and they're thinking outside of the box, but it's also taking the investigator's mind away from where they're at, the experience.
You're missing the experience of being an investigator.
You're focusing on this 3-inch screen, instead of listening or watching with your own eyes. You could be missing something, or you're, sitting there with earphones and one of those little sound radars to pick up something else, and you could be missing it. So I guess that's my own personal belief. Like I said, not knocking any other team, because the way that we operate is not for everybody. The way other people operate is not for other people. And that's what I love about this field, is everybody's different. They all bring something to the table. We keep it very simple, very old school. I'm fine with a flashlight and a compass.
Everybody has their own way to do it, and I appreciate everybody's way to do it. Just like you said, I totally agree with you. And I like to, like you said too, I'd love to be able to afford giant pieces of equipment whenever I wanted to use it.
Yeah.
But I bet you if I had those, I would still go back to just a tape recorder.
Yeah.
Just a tape recorder. Out there with a flashlight, a tape recorder, like, okay, and then going back and trying to catch an EVP somewhere.
Absolutely.
That's how I feel. But like I said, I would if I had the equipment on my disposal, I'd probably use that as well. I think that, like you said, cameras are important, lights, and a tape recorder. If you really want to investigate and keep to that simplistic type of way of doing it, I think that those are the only really important things, because you'll capture the picture, you'll get the sound, and you're able to see it. Those are the aspects that you're using while you're. But like you said too, it's awesome to see these people inventing. And that's another thing I wanted to touch on is, from what I've always reviewed the paranormal, never took part in it, but from where paranormal was, I want to say 15, 20 years ago to where it is now, has been a tremendous jump. Like, if you notice a lot of places, I mean, and I want to get your take on it too, but there wasn't TV shows like there is now for people doing their thing. There wasn't lives on Facebook where everybody could project what they were doing to an audience at any given time. Have you seen any, since you started this, have you seen any transition in maybe not what you are doing, but in the community itself? And what might that be?
I think our views on that are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'll let you go first. Mine are controversial. So.
Well, for me, I think as a whole, the social media platform in itself, and the generation that comes with that, if that makes sense. I think the reason that we've, in my opinion, have seen such a huge leap in this field is because that generation might have its quirks. However, they are not afraid of disappointing someone or going against the grain so much as they were 15 to 20 years ago. And they're not afraid of saying something that someone else might disagree with so much as they were. Like, I believe that the same things were going on 20 years ago that's going on now. However, people did not openly discuss it like they do now. It wasn't made public like it is now because it made people uncomfortable. It was unfamiliar to people and it made them uncomfortable. And it has become a normal topic in a certain generation because of the TV shows and the social media platforms, which has made it easier for people who are experiencing things to come forward and not feel like they're losing their minds or be belittled and told that they're foolish or You know what I mean? And I really believe that plays a huge role in why we see more of it now than we ever have. And I commend the generation that is like, man, I don't care what you think. You can keep your opinions to yourself. I know what I saw. Like, I commend them because that takes gumption, no matter how old you are.
Yeah.
So being able, like that generation, being able to freely speak about things and not fear being belittled or be made to feel foolish for how they view things or their point of views, I think is awesome. I think it's beautiful. And a collective, like a whole thing, I think it is great. However, I do also, on the flip side, think that it has done some damage to this field. You know,
that's where I pop in.
It's much easier to fake things with technology. It's much easier to give this field a bad name with the TV shows and the fake evidence and the all about views and all about likes and the bot viewers and you know what I'm saying? Like
of course,
it's kind of catch-22, I guess.
See, that's where I am. That's what I say. My feelings on the field now as compared to 10, 15 years ago is controversial to a lot of investigators because, like I said, I am very old school. I think that the way that technology is now is the biggest downfall for true paranormal investigators. I do not believe that all these, although they're fun, and yes, we do them, and it's great. That's just the era that we're in. However, I think it's done more damage than anything else because now you have fame seekers and thrill seekers that are claiming evidence, but they're faking it. I mean, like she just got done saying, there's so many pieces of software out there that are great that you can fake a photo or fake a video and it looked legit, you know. And I'm not smart enough for all that, man. It's like I whatever.
I'm not either. I'm not either. Don't worry about it. But I agree. I agree.
Yeah, it's all about views, you know. And you know, I get so daggum tickled because I see these big groups or these groups that, you know, think that they're huge because they have, you know, 10,000, 5,000, 20,000, 80,000 people following them, but they only have like 5 people comment. Like we just had a team that investigated a place that we very near and dear to us, and they had like 27,000 people following them, and they only had 2 people active for like the past year. And I'm like, okay, how does that happen? And then somebody had to explain to me that you can.
We didn't even know you could buy views. I didn't know that was a thing.
You can buy views of
until here recently.
Yeah, you can boost. I haven't boosted any one of my videos, but it is something you can do. You know, you boost a video and people just see it. Everybody just sees it. So
no, this is like people like liking your page. Like if you have on your page, I don't know if you have how many thousand people you have on the page, but you can buy 5,000 fake profiles to like your page just to give it that recognition.
It's a generated thing?
It's a thing. I don't know.
We learned that recently. We had no idea it was a thing because I was really confused. And the only reason it came to topic, just to clear the air, is because this particular team was not doing anything good. It was not good. But they were selling their bad behavior by saying, we can help this place because we have so many viewers, like we could help, you know what I'm saying? That's how they were trying to get away with bad behavior.
Yeah.
And that's how we learned that they had bought their viewers. And I was like, you can what? Yeah. you can do what?
Well, I didn't even know what I think that it's I don't know.
Like I said, to me it's like catch-22. I mean,
there's good and bad in everything, but I really think that technology was probably one of the worst things for the paranormal field because, like I said, you have these thrill seekers and these ghost hunters, you know, not investigators, but just people that want to go and do hunt stuff and fake evidence, whatever. You know, you have them kind of running things right now, and it's a little disheartening for the people who are legitimately doing this for the right reasons because they have kind of screwed over somebody. You know, they told a private client, yeah, I can help you. They go in, they screw it all up or take, you know, God forbid they take money for coming in investigating. And it just puts a bad name on the paranormal field as a whole.
I
I mean,
agree. And the crazy part, this is going to sound a little bit long-winded, but with this community, and I guess this opening up to the internet, which even while the internet was established, didn't happen right away. It still took some time to come out. So the positive is you get to meet a lot of like-minded people and you create this community. The bad side is you get to meet a lot of like-minded people and create this community. And I'll explain. Like you said, there's also people who are fraudulent in their efforts to produce specific types of evidence. But there's also ego. Once a person gets this type of recollection or this type of, 20,000 followers, and let's say they did do it naturally, there becomes this ego, which in turn takes them away from their true purpose of investigating. One, two, they feel above others on an ego status, which doesn't work because you should always be humble and remember where you came from. They were like everybody else at one point, and it's truly a gift and a curse, like you're saying. There is aspects where you get to meet and link up with a lot of people, like you guys are talking about going to Europe, and I want to go to Europe too. And I could get us in touch with a really big group of people who could take us around Europe to explore a lot of places. We'll talk about that later, but that's the difference in making connections. But there's that side where the ego gets like this, and people they step outside themselves in a sense, the way that they were before they got this fame. And I don't maybe one day, hopefully, I hope truly that my radio show, as opposed to my broadcasting show, takes off. And my dream has always been to be syndicated on AM radio stations. But in that aspect, I'm not going to sell myself short of my true values and my pride to jump into bed with people that aren't going to do the right thing for me. And I'm not going to forget the people that have helped me get to that point either. And a lot of people do that. It's like I said, it's a gift and a curse in the same session.
A lot of those things are a lot of the reasons why we decided to, as we stated at the beginning of the show, to step back. We started working back. We call it being back in the shadows. We started working more. We don't have to. We are very grateful for the loyal people that have followed us from beginning until now, because they've been on some wild rides with us, and they become like family. And we were very, very, very grateful for them. It's not that we're not, but going back to the beginning of things and starting back at our roots of who we are and what we want, like ultimately, one of my main goals is to live in this human experience long enough to see a time where people no longer have the need to call a paranormal team to cleanse their home, because people have been educated properly enough that they can do it themselves. Like, those type things are exciting to me. Giving people those types of powers in their lives and that type of control, and being able to reach out and teach people that they can do things for themselves, and they're very capable of doing it with, as long as they're put on the correct path to do it. That's exciting to me. A day when people like us and doing what we do isn't necessarily needed, that's exciting to me. For some people, it's not, because they have this destination addiction of constantly having to be wanted and sought after and needed, and then as you said, the ego just grows and grows and grows, and that destination addiction gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's never enough. And then in reality, they're not helping anybody, and they're actually killing themselves and hurting people, being reckless because they're running off their ego. And that makes me sad. It just does. Like, I've seen people in this field start off and have the purest of intentions, and then their ego takes hold of them and they lose sight of that, and you watch them spiral. And that's sad. To me, it's sad. It doesn't make me mad at them. It breaks my heart, because I'm like, no, you had so much potential. You could have done so much good. Yet here you are. Like, what are you doing? But, I mean, I hate to say that it's inevitable, but it's the truth. It just is. which is, like I said, it's like a catch-22 with social media and the likes and the followers and the views and the comments. People get hooked on it, and they have this instant gratification, and they can't get enough of it. And we had a page, like Caden said, that was full of people, and it was blowing up all the time. And I, for one, am not someone who enjoys that. It was very stressful for me. It was very not personal. Like, it just wasn't personal anymore. It was too big. There was no personal interaction with these. It was more, I don't know, it was just too big. It was too much. And I did not like it. Like, I wanted to go back to mom and pop small, like, you know, but.
Well, that's true too. And you also have to realize that it's all about frequency and vibration. When you become this person who's either, shallow in themselves or not doing it for the right reasons, the universe knows your vibration lowers, right? So now you're going into these places where energy is shifting at such a rate because of these entities. You're liable to be at more danger than you realize by going into these places without not a pure heart, but without the right type of mindset.
Yeah, you're going clouded.
Right. Which means that these entities will attach to you. The dark things will be able to affect you more because of your lowered vibration. Raising your vibration keeps you safer from a lot of these things.
Yes. And it's very, it's very easy to do. I mean, we have slunk back where we were very low vibrating because we were so tired. We were in a place where we were just tired of everything. We weren't happy about what we were doing. But in the same sense, it was in the back of our head, like, we kind of owe it to our followers. We have to do this, we can't let them down, and then we do it. And we're like, man, we had blah, blah, blah. And so showed up and so showed up. Did you see so-and-so's comment? And then as soon as that gratification was done, it's like, oh, now we got to do another show. And now we got to do this. And it's very easy for anybody to get into that egotistical mindset. We're all human. We all have that instilled in us, and it is extremely easy to fall into it. Trust me, we've done it before. Luckily, we realized it pretty daggone quickly, like, oh crap, that was actually pretty egotistical of us. Like, that was a dick move. Like, why did we do that?
Back to transparency, we will call each other out very quickly.
Yeah, we will. We will.
That's one of the things that having your partner there too is they know who you are on a personal level, and it's not just a teammate who may not step up and be like, hey, listen, you're acting like a dick. Stop. You know what I mean? And to be human is to err. We all have moments where we become egotistical or prideful or jealous or anxious, or there's so many different ways, So nobody is at fault for those things. But when you let that be your life,
you are.
Then there's an issue. There's an issue.
That's one of our things is once we realize what we're doing is not our better selves, we stop it. When we address it with each other, and we address it with the people who follow us. I mean, you can go on our page right now and ask anybody other than the last 20 that just signed up. You can ask the other.
Actually, one of them's in the chat room right now.
Yeah, a couple of them's in the chat room. But you can ask them, like, are they honest? Like, there's stuff that happened at the beginning of the year that, I mean, we're extremely honest. We're an open book, even about our personal lives, because if it affects us in the paranormal field, we feel like we need to indulge in that. Like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's about to happen. This is how we're going to start doing stuff because of X, Y, and Z.
A lot of it goes back to this community. We have unknowingly and unbeknownst to us made enemies some way or fashion, or they think that they're our enemies. I don't claim them as my enemy, but they say they are our enemies. Anyway, and if there's ever something there's nothing that anyone can hold above our heads. Being honest and transparent in every aspect of your life is more rewarding than absolutely anything, because that leaves no room for anyone to hit you with anything. And if someone listening has never experienced that kind of freedom, I am so, so sorry. And it's something I push everybody to indulge in and work on, because when you know there's nothing anybody can throw at you to hurt you because you are such an honest and transparent person, that's a whole new level. And inside this community, I've learned and Caden's learned and we've learned together that is something that is very important. If you are going to stand firm on who you are and not be moved, then that's something you got to be able to live with. You know what I'm saying? We did learn that.
And one of those, the reason why we do hold integrity so near and dear to us is because it takes a lot of, and I'm fixing a pair quote, a podcast we just listened to. It takes a lot for somebody to allow complete strangers into their home.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite literally an invasion of privacy. It takes a lot. I do not want anybody reaching out to us or inviting us into their house without knowing us personally and professionally. And I feel like the best way to do that is to be honest. If they ask us our religious stance, we're going to be honest, like, hey, this is how we conduct things. We get that you're this religion, but this is how we do things. Although we have an aftercare for every religion, or just about every religion, this is what we believe in. If that's going to be an issue, we're not the team for you, but we can find you a team that would fit you better.
And we've done that.
And with other situations, both of us are ex-addicts, and all of our members know that about us. We're both ex-addicts, and we've helped a lot of our clients who are also ex-addicts or current addicts deal with the trauma behind the reason why they started. And we've actually helped quite a few clients get into a rehabilitation center to get clean, to get sober, and to stay that way. And we still keep up with them to this day on a friendship level, just to make sure they're good. But that's just the type of people we are. It's not just chasing ghosts. It's not just haunts. It's not just, the thrill of investigating. It's actually
helping,
changing lives,
in any way that we can.
It's going back to the knowledge is everything, and everything that we learned from our mentors. It'd be wrong for us not to spread that on to somebody else. So when they come to us, we tell them, this is what we're going to do for you. This is how we're going to conduct this. If at any reason you feel like we're not a good fit, please let us know and we'll get in contact with somebody who better fits your needs. And that's just how we are.
I appreciate that. And, and I think that straightforward mentality is truly the way to do it. And I want to congratulate you on your sobriety. It is a difficult thing. And, I think that's very admirable that you'll help in any way you can. It shows the type of people that you are inside of the field and outside of the field. And I commend you for that. I think that's integrity is a big deal. It's a big deal, And if I was a pompous ass on the air, I hope somebody would comment and say, "Hey, look, stop being an asshole to people." Like I like to be checked. Everybody has to be checked now and again.
Yeah.
It's just the way life is,
You have to take corrective criticism in this field. If you can't take criticism or constructive criticism, you have no business being in the field. That's my own personal opinion, and I'm sure you probably feel the same.
Yeah.
If somebody's got a different mindset, I want to hear about it, because they could be seeing something that I don't see.
But that goes back to, I've heard you, Rob, talk a lot about you enjoy learning, which you might be able to tell, you might not, but we're the same way. I don't want to ever quit. Neither does he. I want to learn until I literally am not here to learn, and then I want to come back and learn more. But there are some people who have that ego where they don't think that they can learn. And that is another thing. It aggravates Caden, and it doesn't really aggravate me or make me mad. It breaks my heart, because I'm like, you're missing so much, like you have this huge, endless possibility of nothing but knowledge, but your ego is not letting you take it in, and you're missing so much. And that makes me so sad. I get so sad about it, because I'm like, but they have so much potential. They would just learn a little bit. Let's learn. But they don't want to. And they're not interested. They think that they're correct. They think that that's it. That's the end of the line. And inside this field, in my personal opinion, I don't think that there ever is an end of the line. If it was that, then it wouldn't be called the umbrella term that it's called, which is paranormal. I mean, it would not be called that.
There wouldn't be any investigating if everybody knew.
Right.
Exactly.
And
Just
I
like,
agree with that 100%. 100%. Sorry to cut you off, Caden. Go ahead.
no, that's fine. Just like, Emily said earlier in the feed, I'm never going to stop learning. I'm going to keep learning up until I'm on my deathbed. That's just the type of person I am. That's why, a lot of people get tickled at me, because you can ask me a question this week on what I feel, how spirits exist and why they exist and where they at. And you may ask me next week and I'll have a completely different answer, because I might have read something or I might have discovered something that changed my mind a little bit. But that's just how I am. And it's not that I'm trying to be flip-floppy. It's just I may read something that I didn't know existed, or a term that I never knew existed, and it changed my mindset a little bit,
You should, of course, as more things are unveiled to you, your position will change. And that's that's why I kind of called myself the ultimate outsider, because I used to not fit into any community, because I was always diving in from one side, stopping, pulling back, diving in from another side. So everything to me was a little bit different than everybody else,
Yep.
And I agree with that. I think that it's truly, you have to stay vigilant in learning, because your stance will change once you know more. The more we know, the greater we are, the better gifted we get, the more integrity we bring into a situation, the more we can manipulate or manage a situation to investigate it in different ways that nobody has ever done before, which
Absolutely.
will in time give us that ultimate proof that will eventually expand the knowledge of everybody on the planet, and even further maybe. So there is an end game. We're just nowhere near it in sight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We had you asked me a year ago about, there being different dimensions and stuff, I probably would have looked at you like you're crazy. But now there's scientists in Tennessee, not far from here at Oak Ridge. They're conducting an experiment as we speak to prove the existence of an alternate reality. So another dimension.
Awesome thing.
So I've been keeping up with it, and I'm like, okay, if there is this alternate reality, could that mean that some of these spirits that we see that we think are residential or residual hauntings, it's like a loop. Maybe they're not. Maybe the veil between us and that alternate dimension just kind of faded for a hot second, and that's what we're seeing.
Which is kind of what I've told you.
My brain is crazy. I could talk to you for the next 8 hours about how my brain operates and where it goes. People probably think I'm crazy, and I am.
We're going to have those conversations, bro. I'm telling you. We're very minded. We're all going to have those conversations. I'm telling you. It's going to be wild. I agree. There are moments. And my show last week, I did it. Well, I had no guests. And it was just me running through different theories and how they all coincide with each other. There is this thinning of a veil. I believe that there are timelines, right? Each one is a different dimension. They skewer. They move. When they get here, you have bleed throughs where you can see what's on the other side, and they can see, like, you're an apparition to them, and they're an apparition to you. It's the wildest thing. Go ahead. Sorry. I didn't mean to throw.
No,
I got excited. You saw that? I was like, ooh, I know that.
No,
I know that
absolutely.
topic.
I'm a big believer in alternate dimensions, alternate realities. I love conspiracy theories. I'm a fanatic about some conspiracy theories. I love Mandela effects. And I call them glitches in reality. I've had quite a few incidences myself with glitches in reality, especially from childhood. Apparently my memory now, and it's not because you're 30. I'm 29. Sorry. I can't remember how old I am. Once I hit that 30 mark, I'll remember, but 29 is such an awkward year. But I'm 29, and apparently my entire childhood is wrong. I mean, it's not like I'm old enough to where my memory's starting to fail me. It's what I remember as my childhood from 12 and on apparently never happened. I mean, I have hardcore memories, detailed memories of things that I did or that my family did or that I witnessed that my parents to this day are like, that never happened. You're crazy. You're crazy. Like, we never went there. We never did this. And I'm like,
yes,
if we didn't go there, then how do I know that this place was here and this was here and this was here? And I'll pull it up on Google Maps, like, see? And they're like, I don't know, but we never went. I'm like, yes, we did.
Time out. I don't know if you are a horror movie person or a scary movie person. Okay, back, 7 years ago when we first watched the very first Insidious movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how I came up with the name of what I called the other, was because that's what they called it. And I was like, yep, that fits perfect. So that's just what I used. And I had been trying to explain to Caden, and up until this last year, he was just like, listen, I'm really not trying to understand, but I'm struggling to understand. Because I would be like, it's right here with us, but it's not right here with us. Talking about different dimensions and planes and spirit and vibration and all these things, because the way that I see it, he's not able to see it. And so I would try so hard to explain it, and I would be like, it's right here, but it's not right here, you know? And he was like, I'm not getting it. I'm just not getting it. And then within the last year, because of this dedication through science that these people are really pushing with, and him being able to read, documents and see images and he's like, okay, now I'm getting what you've been telling me this whole time. I'm understanding how you're trying to explain it, because it was more on a make sense method instead of me just babbling, but that's how I have always seen it. It was right here with us, but it's not right here with us. And that sounds crazy, but that's just how it's always been to me.
It's not crazy. It's for some like you, it's right here. For others like me and Caden, we understand what you're saying, but we have to see it differently. We don't exactly understand it in that perception, shall we say. Everybody's reality is a perception of how they do things, that they are, attitudes, egos, things like that. We can go into the whole spectrum of it. But really what mediums do, if you're not a medium, it's difficult to understand. You understand, you grasp the concept of it, but to see the actuality of it or exactly how it works, we'll never be privy to that. But the dimensions, and they are working on some crazy, crazy stuff that is going with science to unlock a lot of the universe, which is something I'm so interested in. I love that stuff. I love that stuff. We could talk for days on that. Days. And actually, the show that I did last week has Mandela effect in it. And it goes inside with timelines of parallel universes. I spoke about all that stuff. So it's kind of crazy you bring it up on this episode. It's like, I don't believe in coincidences. So everything is meant or varied for a reason. So I think that this conversation is truly a continuation of last week, which is truly epic. It's truly epic.
Yeah. No, I'm a sucker for those types of things. Like I said, you get me talking about alternate dimensions and especially the Mandela effects and glitches in reality. I'm like all ears, like, man, what?
Do you know something I don't know?
Do you know something I don't know?
Do you have a story? That's Caden.
Right, because then maybe you could perceive a specific event that somebody else's event. You can be like, okay, well, now that makes sense why that would be. And then that works with that. You're connecting dots as they're telling you. I love that. That to me is like an investigation in itself. It's like, okay. But
see, and that's me. I'm quite.
You guys should be really good friends.
Yeah.
we're gonna be, and then we're all gonna go to Europe together, and we're gonna have a great freaking time.
Exactly.
So it's written in the stars. I'm telling you, it's written in the stars already.
Exactly. And it is quite like a ongoing investigation because, like I said, a lot of my childhood apparently never happened. Or I have to tell you this story, and this is another strange story that happened.
Go ahead.
So when I was little, probably from 5 years old to 10 years old, I stayed in the woods. I was always that person that was in the woods.
I just realized what story you're telling.
Yeah. I was always in the woods exploring, doing my own thing. Now, the woods next to my house are not very big. They're maybe a half mile long, if that, nothing grand. But I would always venture out in there. And I specifically remember I came across this house or this old cabin in the middle of the woods, had a pond in front of it, could still to this day tell you every single detail about it. I remember that I felt very uneasy as soon as I walked in the front door. It scared the crap out of me. So I ran home. Like I felt like something was going to get me. And at that age, like, oh, the booger man. No, I ran. So I got home and it just stayed on my mind. And I went back. I told my parents about it. And they're like, you didn't find a house. You found the cabin that's yeah. And I'm like, no, I know that house, not that one. This is a different one. It was right next to a pond. It was very small, a lot smaller than that. Like, no, there's no houses, there's no buildings in those woods. And I'm like, yes, there is, and I'm going to prove it. So the next day, I went and got a camera. I was like, I'm going to take a picture and show them. I'm just going to show them. Go to the woods, can't find it. And I circled. Like, I'm like, where did it go? I found the pond. Where's the building? Where's the building? Couldn't find it. I'm like, whatever, okay. So I come back and I'm like, I'll try again tomorrow, whatever. And I never went back out to find it, young mind, squirrel mentality, something new grabbed me. And over the years, I had a recurring dream of this cabin or this house, little shack. And it's always in the same spot in the woods. It would change slightly. Some dreams it'd be bigger, some dreams it'd be smaller, some dreams it'd be newer and older. It always changed, but it never changed the location of where it was. And at 27 years old, I was telling Allisa about it, and she's like, let's go find it today. Okay. Adventure time. We go and find this place. And I found the pond, but no house. And I'm like, it's the same thing. She's like, well, let's go to the other set, the one that's across the road. And I'm like, I never ventured over there. And she's like, let's just try it. We go over there, and sure enough, there it is. There's the pond. There's the shack, or the remnants of the shack. Years of wind and tornadoes and stuff leveled it, but there it was. And we ended up doing an investigation there, and it was a little girl and 2 boys that had worked on that property, and it was in the slave days. So they were slaves, and they told us the name of the guy that they had worked for. Real guy, lived not too far from us, exactly the way that they said he was. And they had died of a sickness, and they buried them in the earth, and that ended up becoming like a little pond. I mean, it's just very small, maybe 2 foot deep, but it's probably 30 foot long, so it's just a little swamp area. And we ended up connecting to her, and I think her name was Mary.
It was.
But, the whole story about that is things like that have always happened to me, where I would have recurring dreams or something weird happened that couldn't be explained. And years later, I finally figure out, like, oh, that's what happened. Oh, there it is.
It was, it was pretty much the other side of the road. You went the other way. That's wild. You know what? Right. And that takes me back to this, the road not taken kind of strategy with that. Like, take what I'm not telling you how to do it, but if you look at these memories, right? Write them down, compartmentalize them, take pieces of them and try and find points of where they meet reality, right? Then those points that don't meet reality, you try and look the other way from it. I don't know if that makes sense, but not like, not the typical way you would look for it, maybe like the other way. But I'll help you explore that too, because if people when people try and find like their family tree, I'm the one they call, because I have ways of investigating history that a lot of people aren't privy to. I also have connections in not high places, but places that are somewhat classified to find paperwork and things like that. So I would love to explore that with you, so we can figure out all these things for you too. I think that would be such a cool thing to do.
You would actually be interested in some of our clients that we have, because there is no medical there's no evidence of her childhood. Like, she was 9 years old and that was it.
Oh boy.
I could find it.
No.
I could find it. That's usually some kind of CIA operation. If they
Definitely.
MK Ultra. That's what I'm saying. That'd be right up your alley.
It might be. There are other ones too that they, there's quantum projects that they use for. We can get into all that, but I mean, I've done quantum type of investigations too, where people like that have gone missing for so many years, resurface. What happened? I think they froze right at the right point. I don't know what happened there. She looks very shocked right now. That makes me a little nervous, guys. I'm not going to lie about it. She is a psychic medium. She's got an open mouth stare at either the phone or me. I don't know what's happening. We're going to try and get them on the line. We're going to drop them out of the stream until we do. So, I mean, this has been a pretty amazing interview. I like these guys a lot. They're going to be on quite a bit more. MK Beta is definitely another one. You're absolutely right. I feel that we've done a lot of great things tonight. Talked about a lot of great stuff. It's I don't know, man. That face that they just had on was like, why are they looking like that? And it looks like they were looking at me too. I could feel like they were just like, oh, they saw something. So I want to thank a lot of you guys in the audience. I want to thank Robert, Emily, Steve. Oh, I think they're coming back. There we go. What happened, guys?
I don't know.
Started talking about the government. The phone shut off.
Yep.
Of course it did. I saw your face too. You were like, oh. I was like, oh, what does that mean? She's a medium. You can't have it like that. What happened?
I'm sure my face was like,
because like we were sitting there, and all of a sudden it went boop, and I'm like, oh no!
Can I tell you that happens to me all the time when I go into shows?
Jeez.
I do shows on politics, and I do shows on government agencies and things like that. They shut us down more times than not.
I
More
believe
times than
it.
not.
Trust me.
Yeah,
Robert White said naturally.
yeah.
Yeah.
Robert already knows. He just about watches every single podcast we've ever done, and on every podcast, something fishy always happens. Never fails.
Yep.
Never fails.
Never fails.
I thought maybe you saw something behind me. That's why your face just dropped. I said, "Oh shit!
No.
Oh
I can
shit!"
imagine that was a little nerve wracking. Like, okay, the medium just made a face.
Yep, yep. And then gone, just frozen. But so I can't wait to talk to you. I'm going to bring you guys back on to talk about non-paranormal investigations, cryptids, UFOs, things like that. Maybe some maybe some type of mythology we can get into, just like a kind of like to teach people about these things. I know you guys like to teach. I love doing that too. So we could do like another team up in the next few months and get it either recorded or, we guys can come on and we can talk about it. Just basically have like a big conversation like we did tonight, and we're getting close to the time we're about to shut down. So I want you guys to tell everybody where they can find your stuff. Any last thoughts or last final things that you want to say?
We just appreciate everybody coming out tonight, listening. We appreciate you for allowing us and talking with us. It's been a lot of fun.
It has been.
And like I said, we're very simple. So you can find us on Facebook at Southern Ascension. That's all we're on. Our email's on there, phone number's on there. We're quite literally available 24/7. If I don't answer the first time you call, turn around, call me back.
I'll wake him up.
She'll wake me up to answer it. So
Perfect. Guys, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Tonight was a blast. I love doing shows like this. You guys were awesome. You guys were so cool. I can't wait to talk more in the future. I feel like we've made a little bit of a connection tonight, and we can work on that and bring it to different places as we move forward. I want to thank everybody that was here in the comments as well. I feel like you guys are like myself. We're all ultimate outsiders. We don't possibly fit into the mold of what people really are. We're outside the box a little bit. I think I can appreciate that just as much too. I'm one of those people as well. And from all of us at Full Spectrum Universe, and I wish you guys all the success in the world. And I just really appreciate you guys coming on. It was an awesome time. Thanks
so much. It was a blast. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, it was an honor. So on that note, guys, everybody come on back on Saturday nights, 8 to 10 p.m. here on the RU Media Network. You can also find me on Monday nights from 9 to 11 p.m. with my co-host, Rescue Media Melinda, on the Seer and the Scholar. We also do a Tuesday night show from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And if you're out there, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Full Spectrum Universe. Also, if you're interested in any extra content, we have a Patreon for everybody. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great evening.